especially for the for qualifying when it's a car that's more oversteer, more on the nose. As we can see, is Rapin from 5th to quickest, 43.9. About the 10th ahead of Podence, who is still in 2nd position, with Michael Thomas in the 3rd in the McLaren 720S. Now, in real life, of course, we saw the Mercedes AMG working wonders around the Nürburgring last weekend in the hands of Max Verstappen, who was driving pretty much the same car, but then in real life, around that magnificent racing track, working really well in his hands. And right now, it's really working really well in the hands of our drivers here as well. As you see, Alfano currently in P4 in the 113 Mercedes AMG. It's 3 of 2 green sectors so far. So it should be an improvement for him. Currently 6.5 tenths down on provisional pole position, coming through the final corner, the Gelb corner. I'm probably pronouncing it all wrong, but it's what it says on my on my map. And there we go, P3 and 44.0. So about a 10.5 also behind Papin, who is still in P1, going quicker still this time around, as we near the end of LM GT3 qualifying in just a few moments time. And it's looking rather quick indeed. Now I'm just trying to look at the our own standings in LM GT3. Crucially, the top 3 cars in this top 4 really are competing tonight. There we go. Michael Thomas is leading the way, level on points with Alessandro Alfano, who we just saw also in Mercedes. So it's level points in the lead for this championship in LMGT3. So a lot to play for there, with Davide Canton in 4th and Podence in 3rd, just 4 points separated as well. So very close between those guys, and all 4 of those are competing here tonight. So not really anyone able to get any advantage from that, unfortunately, but a very close fight nonetheless, as we have about 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session for LMGT3. Just taking a look at the rest of the standings. I think, well, crucially, Manuel Fuchs is not here. He is in P5 of the standings, so he will potentially lose out compared to Chris Winning, who is competing. He's currently in P6. And Davide Canton is in P4. He's competing. There we go. I'm just checking my own list. But I think most of the top 8, top 9 guys here are competing. Now, Enzo Leralde, he did score 15 points 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, but lost all his points prior to that due to a car change. So he could potentially make good use of the absence of a lot of cars here, Simon. I think it's a well timed for him to be competing here tonight in the Aston Martin, knowing that there's a lot of cars missing. He could be on for some good points and move himself up on the standings.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Very nice timing for him with that car change, because you know there's gonna be a collision, 3 cars out, and somehow he's P5, even if he finishes last at that time. So you know, it's a very nice timing, and he can gain some good points even if he finishes last. If he's even like 5 seconds off the pace, yeah, he'll still gain a good amount of points. That is, of course, if he quits, because he's in the pit still. So we'll see about that, but yeah, definitely a very nice timing for him.
And we'll see if he gets out on the grid for this race in just a few moments' time, as the clock is down to 0 for our LMGT3 field. It's the first 10 minutes for our GT3 cars to set a time, and a break of about 5 minutes, and a period where these drivers can finish up their lap times. And after those 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes for our Hypercar field to put their lap times on the board. Meanwhile, we are now also live on YouTube. We had a bit of a technical issue there, but luckily we are now also live on there. So welcome for everyone joining us on the YouTube side. Great to have you all here with us in the commentary booth. It's going to be a great race around here. The beautiful Autodromo Internazionale do Algarve. Great circuit, and should be plenty of action to come in the next 80 minutes or so, about 120 minutes, 100 minutes at this point, with about 15 minutes left in this qualifying session. So that's GT3 done. Remy Rapin does get his pole position in then with a 43.9, just ahead of Kevin Podence, a 16 thousandths of a second between the 2 Mercedes drivers. Great stuff by them. Alessandro Alfano puts it in 3rd in the 1113. just under 0.2 of a second behind pole position. Michael Thomas in 4th position. So the championship leader level on points with Alessandro Alfano loses out there compared to the Mercedes, who's just ahead of him in 3rd. So still very close between those two coming into this race. Marco Galetti in P5, also in the Mercedes AMG. Chris Winning in P6, David Canton in P7, and Enzo Leralde in P8. He did not set a lap time, so we'll see if he comes out as the race goes green in just a few moments, but he is in P8. So, like we said, it's a bit of a minimal field of LMGT3 this time around, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll see a lot more drivers returning for 2 weeks' time at Sebring. But it's so different it is in the hypercar field of 13 competing drivers here tonight. Let's take a look at the current standings. Nicolas Ulrich is the leader. He is on 90 points in the Aston Martin Valkyrie 999. So very good stuff. He's 18 points clear of Nathan Perron in the Alpine 26. Ulrich got in 2nd last time out at Le Mans, and Nathan Perron in 3rd with Benjamin George, who is also 3rd down the standings. He got the win there, 38 points in that Cadillac V-Series, so great performance by him. It's a single point ahead of Gabor in the 2nd Valkyrie, who himself is about 21 points ahead of Alex Knudsen in the 3rd Valkyrie, the 555. He went up to top 5 with Tom Demely, the first of the Ferraris, I think the only Ferrari in this field, in the number 2. He's on 33 points. 5 points ahead of Nicholas Henkel in the Peugeot, who is himself 2 points ahead of Alejandro Serle in the 2nd Peugeot, the 86. We've not seen too much of the Peugeots this season. It's a bit of a mixed bag for them, performing well here, but performing disastrously there. So curious to see what they are able to bring to the table tonight, with Poulouin in P9 in the Cadillac and Daniel Maassen, the always popular Daniel Maassen, 11 points with the Cadillac in P10. Jeremy Barrault in the 102 in 11th, with Stefanizzi in 12th. Schornak in P13 with Alphonse Wellen. He made the switch to the Porsche, to the Ferrari after driving in the Porsche previously. He is now in P14 on 9 points. Mardokovic P15, Sterner P16, Schlichting in P17, Barrichello in P18, Samuel in 19, and Colombo in 20. So with that, Simon, we make our way to the start of hypercar qualifying in just over a minute time. Looking at quite the diverse field of cars that we have here tonight, what would your bet be on in terms of the car that is strongest around here? What car would you pick if you had to drive a race around here?
Yeah, and I absolutely knew you were gonna ask this question. And
So predictable.
I was still thinking about it so far ahead. And I can tell you, I have no idea. But if I could guess, I feel like we have one Ferrari on the grid. I feel like the Ferrari could be a very good car around here. It just seems to suit. And the Cadillac, we have 3 Cadillacs on the grid today. So I feel like these 2 cars could work very well. And of course, yeah, it's very hard to guess. I've never really driven a hypercar around here. I've really driven only LMP2s, to be absolutely honest with you. So I really don't know what the best hypercar could be here. But as I said, if I could guess, it could be the Ferrari.
Yeah, we've seen the Ferrari performing really well across the entire season, really. In every class, pretty much, we saw a number of drivers making the switch from the Cadillac to the Ferrari after the recent update, where the Ferrari really did come to life then, as we are on board with Tom Demely in the Ferrari 499P. A blue Ferrari nonetheless, which I'm going to say is kind of out of this world. There was one, I believe, in the 50s somewhere, and the one where they had a blue Ferrari, but after that it's been pretty much all red. So a bit unusual to see, but a Ferrari under there nonetheless, and it should be a good performing car pretty much everywhere at this point. We, like I said, we saw a number of drivers making that switch to the Ferrari 499P after the recent update a number of weeks ago at this point. So interesting to see how they perform around here. Portimao is not really a circuit we have on the calendar that often across the season, across the splits. So it's a bit of a how do you say that in English? I'm gonna think about it. It's a bit of a weird one for a number of drivers. The thing I was gonna say in Dutch doesn't really make sense. It's yeah, an unknown track. That's I think what you could call it. As my broadcaster so kindly puts. So it's it's going to be interesting for these drivers. Barroco's very deep there into, I think it's Samsung corner on those cold tires. And like Simon, we talked a lot about the tires across the season, especially with the new update. But I think with a track like Portimao, where there's so much elevation change, it makes it all the more tricky. These cold tires to even keep it on track in general, let alone put a good atom in.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to correct you on one thing. I was thinking about when you said the blue Ferrari, and I just remembered suddenly that Ferrari in F1 had a couple of blue liveries in the recent times. So
that's true.
Yeah, I just remembered that. But back to the actual question, and not talking about the colors of the Ferraris here. The tires around Portimao are deadly. I can tell you that. You don't want to be on cold tires here. You have to, yeah, but you don't want to. Especially this turn, as we are watching these Caddies going through. When you're on cold tires here, you can easily just, as we saw with David Canton when we were driving on board with him in that GT3, he just snapped and almost just flew to Spain with that. So. Yeah, the cold tires are very hard here. They're not really hard to warm up. It's a pretty hot track in a hot country. I would say it's not that bad with temperature-wise, but it's bad with that technical sector, which is just the whole second and third sector. So warming up tires is necessary here, and if someone can do that better than someone else, he'll definitely gain a lot of time on the others.
I actually had some time on the sim today for first time in a number of weeks, so trying to get at least a start on a lap on my own at Spa, I think, in the BMW. I was just constantly spinning around on those cold tires. I don't know how people do it. Now, it's probably just a skill issue on my part, but it's very, very difficult indeed to get it all done nicely. But as you say, it's a warm track. It's 27 degrees, the track warmth, and it's a nice sun out as well. So it should be doable for these drivers, but it's still very tricky indeed. Its first lap times are on the board of 38.5, about 8 seconds slower than I would expect these drivers to go come the end of this qualifying session. There's a 36.4 for Niclas Henkel in the Peugeot, so still a lot of time to make up then in this session. 6 minutes to go for our hypercar drivers, and it does take a number of laps for those tires to come the temperature up to speed, and for these drivers to be able to put the good performance in and get it to where they want it to be, which is of course the front of the field. So small correction on my side, it's 14 cars actually competing in the field tonight, so nice to see even more drivers out there. Hopefully all of them will get out on track in just a few moments time and set their qualifying laps if they don't have a penalty or something that they need to collect. So a lot more hypercars in this field luckily compared to GT3, so always nice to have all these guys out on track here together. Tom Demely in the Ferrari, currently in third in the number 2 blue-white Ferrari. As he comes through Sagres, turn 14, on his way to Galp, turn 15, the final corner of this track. The long sweeping right-hander, a lot of high-speed corners around this track. Very nice to see. Scraping the floor there, sparks flying around, a bit of a wiggle on exit as well. Makes his way through the finish of his lap, and will it be? It's a 38 right now to 34.5, so it's a lot quicker than he used to go. It's about a second, 6/10 quicker than Sturle. As Perron now goes quicker as well in the Alpine, and Maassen now on provisional pole with a 32.9, gets done by Niclas Henkel at a 32.8 in the Peugeot. So both Peugeots going very quick in these opening stages. Baroque was fourth in the Valkyrie. So kind of to our surprise, Simon, the Peugeots found some pace here. Like we said it before, it's been a mixed bag for the Peugeots this season. But Portimao, as it is right now, there's still 4 minutes to go, of course, might be a track where they're going quick at.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it, and I have to turn attention to Nathan Perron. His middle sector was 2/10 faster than everybody else, which is just insane, because it's most of the sectors are pretty close, but he just lost so much in the last sector. And it's Barrichello in the gravel there, trying not to impede anybody, but still manages to get out of the way somehow. And it seems pretty close. Now we'll see a replay what happened to Barrichello, because I didn't notice that as I was watching the live timing. Yeah, is that an impeding? Hard to say. Depends if the Peugeot was on a flying club as well. If he wasn't, then it's a clear penalty on my side of things. But Barrichello completes the lap and goes for another lap, which should be much better as Tom Deneley will now cross the line, as we see another replay. And that's a lockup. That's what I've been talking about. And there's Barrichello going into the gravel. And that's exactly what I've been talking about. You have to be really precise on your inputs here on this track. Because if you just, let's say 5%, you're gonna lock up easily. So yeah, they warmed up their tires now. That's not their concern anymore. But they have to be very precise in these corners with the elevation change and everything. It's not really fun to drive it if you don't know how. If you know how to drive this track, it's kinda rewarding, like driving Monaco on the limit. It's very similar, just you don't have the walls right next to your wheels.
I think these cars in Monaco would be absolutely insane. That's no way that's gonna work.
That's the Corsa is calling me.
I was gonna say that the Corsa is calling you right now. That's something I need to say. Hypercars around Monaco with GT3s as well. That would be nuts for sure.
It would be impossible, I can tell you, from the spot that you cannot put a multi-class race in Monaco. It's just not possible. If you don't mod Carnage, though, it would be like 5 cars finishing, like, and none of the GT3s probably.
That is for sure. I think that's a very safe bet indeed. To see a number of quick lap times now on the board. Henkel goes back into provisional pole position at 31.8, just under 2/10 quicker of Mardukovic in the 65. Puts it in P2 in his Cadillac. So the Cadillac is now responding to the quick pace of the Peugeots. Barrichello in 4th in the 444 car. So great performance by those two Cadillac drivers up the front of the field. There's Sterle still in 4th. I think Sterle was just involved with that crash with Barrichello, who I think he was on a quick lap seeing the lines he was taking. So that Peugeot now in 4th, and Barrichello, no damage for him luckily. Up into 3rd then after that earlier spin. Dembélé in P5, the single Ferrari out there with Daniel Maassen in P6, about a second behind Niclas Henkel on pole position. Gabapur in P7, Benjamin George in P8, Dieter Perron in P9, and Jamie Barrault in P10. Also, a small correction, Alphonse Wellen is still in the Porsche in this split. He did make the switch to the Ferrari in the gold split. That's why I got confused there. So he is still in the Porsche around here. Did not ditch the German car in the silver split, but he did make the switch to the gold split. So that's where the confusion came from as we near the end of this qualifying session. Niclas Ulrich in the 999, 11th currently as it stands. Sector 1 is decent, coming through Sector 2 now. To Craig Jones up towards Portimao, turn 11. And the end of Sector 2, let's see how it is compared. There we go, it's a 2.5 tenths quicker than his lap time currently is. So he could be on for an improvement that moves him up into the top 10. That clock is down to 0 now. And I think he's one of the last cars to put a lap time on the board. So right now it's looking very good for Niclas Henkel indeed to put a pole position here for this race here tonight on the board. He's back in the pit lane though, so Mardukovic might have something to say about that as well. Because Ulrich coming through the final corner. And that screaming Valkyrie V12 engine in the back of that Aston Martin. That's always a great sound to hear. P7, so great lap indeed to round it off for Niclas Ulrich. Moves himself up in the top 7 then. As that's the Hypercar qualifying done indeed. So it is Niclas Henkel, who takes pole position here around Portimao. Surprising pole position for the Peugeots. We're talking about how strong the Cadillacs and the Ferraris might be. Well, it's a Peugeot who pimps them all and puts it on pole position with, well, 2 Cadillacs behind them. That's for sure. Mardukovic and Barrichello. Great performance by those 2 guys. Not really guys we're seeing up to the front all that often. So a bit of surprise there, but a welcome one for sure. Alexander Sterle in 4th in the 2nd Peugeot with Tom Demely, the single Ferrari in P5. Benjamin George then, our winner from 2 weeks ago at Le Mans, is in P6 with Nicholas Ulrich in the Valkyrie in P7. Daniel Maas in the P8 with Gabapor in P9. Disappointing for him, I think. He's currently in 4th in the standings. And Nathan Perron in P10. Of course, Nicholas Ulrich here P7 is the championship leader on 90 points. So also a bit disappointing on his side. Jeremy Burrows, the final driver to put Letom on the board. 1.5 seconds off the pace in P11. With Philip Schlichting, Alfons Wellen and Elias Shornek not setting Letom on the board. Someone puts in the YouTube chat, Henkel pole is absolute cinema. Well, I tend to agree with that. Kind of out of nowhere that Simon, with the Peugeots going as quick as they did. I don't think this is really a track where the Peugeot is meant to go quick, knowing that they're pretty much focused on straight line speed. It was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely kind of out of nowhere. And yeah, it should not be suiting this track at all. But somehow it works, and if it works, don't touch it. That's the golden rule. So yeah, we'll just let the Peugeots be fast, and hey, I was not that far off. The Cadillacs are pretty good here, so you have to not judge me here. So yeah, as we see the race director telling us that the cars will be graded up for the race, and yeah, we should have sunny weather through the whole race. So no expected rain, which could be very fun around here. Yeah, I would imagine heavy rain around here would be something I would look forward to, especially with that middle sector there. But yeah, it's just gonna be about who will not crash on this first lap, because those cold tires are really deadly, especially in that last turn as well, where you just need to touch the curbing and lift wrongly, and then you're flying over the sea to USA. So yeah,
I love your geographical notes on there. That's great stuff.
Yeah, I always find those funny, so I hope some of the other people find them funny as well, because I do. So yeah, it will be very interesting to see these first laps coming into this race.
And I'm just, there we go. I was kind of getting worried for Niclas Henkel that he's not on the grid yet, but he is there with about 10 seconds to go then for the start of the formation lap of this race, the 5th round of the VMS Contender Series Silver Split around the Autodroma Internazionale d'Algarve, also known as Portimao circuit. And as we make our way then across the final corner on this formation lap, already seeing some tire strategy going on there between the Peugeot and the Cadillac. So we'll touch on that shortly as well with you, Simon. So it's going to be interesting to watch across this race. So it should be plenty of action then to come for the next 80 minutes or so. The 5th round of this season. You see the Hypercar field crawling their way to the start of this race. And we'll be going green momentarily. The GT3 field nearby as well. 7 cars on the grid for those guys. Any second now. A long old straight this. I forget how long this is every time.
Yeah, it's a really long one.
Green then for the 5th round of the VMS Contender Series Silver Split. We are great with Portimao. It's a decent start for Henkel. He's still on the inside of Mardukovic, but Mardukovic swoops around the outside in the Cadillac. A big contact there behind between Henkel and Barrichello, but Cadillac and Mardukovic swoops into the lead around the outside of the Peugeot. Great start by him, and the Peugeot have to defend on the 2nd blue Cadillac. It goes down the inside of Torre Vip, turn 5. Still on the inside then of the Peugeot. The pole setter losing out at least one place. could be 2 here. I think it will be, as Barrichello moves down the inside of the Peugeot, and George also having a look then in the third Cadillac. It's a horrible start then for Henkel. Loses all the momentum that he had coming from the start of the front of this field, and is now down into third, having to defend off on the third Cadillac. I think he does so for now. Yep, he does. So stays in third for now. It is still Remo Papen in the lead in LMGT3 ahead of Kevin Podence with Alfano in third. And I think Galetti has lost a place to defeat a Canton there. Yep, he did. With Winning losing a single place to both Galetti and Canton as well. So no major drama in LMGT3. All cars still out there in one piece. And I think the same can be said for our hypercar field, all still in one piece as well. A bit of a luck up there for one of the Peugeots. It's Daniel Maas in P7 behind Alessandro Sturle. So Sturle dropping back a number of places as well. Is currently in P8 after starting in P4. So he did not have a great start out there as well. Tom de Melis still in P5. Benjamin George, like I said, also moving up a number of places. He's now hunting down Niclas Henkel in third. But all cars still in one piece, and it's two Cadillacs leading the pack around here after lap 1.
Yeah, and yeah, I pretty much predicted that those Cadillacs are absolutely flying away. Henkel, yeah, as I said, the first lap is really about survival, and Henkel was just pushed off and played ping pong around with those Cadillacs. So that was not really fun. And now they have a bit more gap to settle into and just warm up those tires and then go on the attack again. I'm definitely not ruling out Henkel still here in this race. I think he could still win this race pretty easily. If he just stays in that slipstream, in that long straight, there might be something doing, but it seems like he's just about out of the slipstream where it matters. As we're watching onboard with Nicolas Ulrich chasing down Daniel Masson. No, sorry. Oh,
down the inside.
That's Daniel Masson, as I was talking about, down the inside, and a bit of a wheel bang in between those two there, but seems all fair and square. So Nicolas Ulrich will now get the huge slipstream coming down the straight, and we'll see what happened here with the outside cams and not on the onboard. So we should see much more as Daniel Masson is there. Nicolas Ulrich just turns into him, just miscalculates the apex, and the straight will not be enough, but it could be enough for Nathan Perron. No, it is not. He's chasing down Alessandro Sturle for that P8, and the whole field seems pretty close together, and as I said, Henkel is pretty close to Barrichello now, as we see Winning now right behind Galetti, but just too far back to make a move, as we see Michael Thomas, the championship leader, setting the fastest lap and the pace, and Nicolas Ulrich side by side with Tom Demele coming into this very fast two left-handers. With a huge elevation. I think he defends it nicely. No, he was overtaken, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter now. Now coming into this later stages of this middle sector, and he seems to be clear, but we'll have to see on the straight. He might be able to do something, as we see the replay here. What happened here? Daniel Masson switching back on Tom Demele, and Tom Demele just getting a really bad exit from that, just outbraking himself, and Nicolas Ulrich actually overtaking him around the outside. A very nice move from Nicolas Ulrich there. I have to rate it. Now Tom Demele right in the slipstream behind Nicolas Ulrich, behind that V12 naturally aspirated engine of that Valkyrie, which sounds absolutely beautiful. He will move to the inside, just throws a dummy. It does not work on Nicolas Ulrich, but it works on him, as now he gets overtaken by Sturle into first turn, outbraking himself. I have to ask you, Stevie, do you think there's some issue with the Ferrari in these first laps of the race?
Well, he's not going as quick as he can, that is for sure. He's currently in P8 then. I'm being hunted down by the Alpine of Nathan Perron, who's on the rear wing of him pretty much glued to it. So I think there might be something wrong with the Ferrari, or at least he's carrying some damage then, because he's clearly not having the pace that he showed earlier. That's down the inside of turn 3 for that's Podence then on the Michael Thomas going on the inside of Podence for the P2 in LMGT3. That's a great move by the championship leader. Gets himself up into second after already overtaking Alfano earlier on. Oh, gets it back down the inside. Oh, turn 5, still there on the inside of number 60. Pushes the McLaren off a bit and gets it cleared off on the exit. So McLaren very much not happy on that, flashing the lights to the Mercedes driver. Probably felt like he was being forced off just a little bit. But some great racing going on here for P2, and as Alfano's closed the gap as well in LMGT3. But I think Tom Demely is at least carrying some damage there in the Ferrari, because he's clearly not as fast as we've seen him do before. There's a replay of Daniel Maassen. I think he must have had an incident somewhere. I didn't see him on the time. Yeah, he had a spin there, the number 14 Peugeot. And in the gravel, does he touch the barrier as well? I don't think he does, luckily for him, but loses a heap of places, puts him outside of the top 10 then in the number 14. So unfortunate for him. He's outside of the points as it stands. Moves Demely up into 7th again. But the Ferrari driver clearly having a lot of work to do in this race. He is technically on a faster tire as well. He's currently on a full set of mediums with a number of drivers around him being on a mixed set of tires. I think that will be left-hand side hards and then right-hand side mediums, if I'm guessing that correctly. Do you think that's... What do you think, Simon? Is there an advantage to either strategy, or is it just preference on how it feels, or could that mean something for these drivers come the end of this race with the tires that are running now?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think there's a strategy where it's about comfortability. There should always be a better strategy in case of anything, you know, fuel, tires, and all of that nerd stuff. I'm not thinking about it when I'm racing, to be absolutely honest with you. I just go to race.
That's the race engineer's job anyway, so...
Yeah, I just go to race, and that's all I care about. But yeah, definitely a very hard circuit on the left side. You use a lot of tires in the high speeds. As you can see, the first corner, second corner, third corner, and then you got the hairpin and all the other stuff. There's just a lot of high speed corners. I'm not talking about the last turn, of course. So I think there's a lot of drivers that just put on hard on the left side, because that's just gonna be much better than having drive mediums after few laps, I would say. Yeah, the tires are not really happy driving on this circuit. And if you look at the curbs and listen to them a bit, maybe now we'll hear it. No, we didn't. But those curbs are, I don't know how to say it. Very sharp. That's the word.
Razor sharp.
They're razor sharp, and those tires are not happy. What happened to Daniel Maassen here again? Just spinning out of the... Yeah, I think that's just those tires being too used, and they're really hot now. You know, when you use those tires when they're still cold, they're not really fun to drive on anymore, because they just kinda... They get graining, that's one thing, but those tires are much more sensitive when they're not up to the temperature, as we see Barrichello making a mistake and letting Henkel just come through. So back to what I was saying, those tires, when you use them on the start, when they're much more sensitive, when they're cold, those tires will just die sooner, or they're just gonna be dead from that moment when you spin. And I think that's what's happening to Daniel Maassen. He just spun around there, maybe the tires were a bit cold, and now they're really hot and probably were too sensitive, so he'll have those rear tires pretty used by now, and definitely a huge disadvantage to all of those cars around. I'm sorry I did not catch that, but it was really close between those two Mercedes fighting for that P3. Now onto the long straight. Well, will Alfano have any chance at overtaking Podence into the first turn? Now we'll have to see on this straight. Now up the hill, which is a very weird hill on the straight right there, but it's a characteristic of this circuit. As Alfano goes down the inside, tries the dive bomb, does not work. Now the McLaren right on his tail. Will he try it? He takes the dummy, and it works.
Contact.
Yeah, they just kinda shopping trolley bumped each other stuff, but it seems like it did not change much of it as he tries dive bomb and there's a...
Oh, speaking of dive bomb.
That was not a dive bomb, that was attempted murder right into the hairpin, and not a very one. But I have to give him that he made all that he can to just move out of the way all of the others and try not to take everyone out. This is what you should be doing when you do the dive bomb. Just try not to take anyone out because yeah, that's just all your fault. And Daniel Musson, it's not his race, is it? Yeah.
No, it really isn't. I think that's, yeah. Like,
Yep.
like I said, I think the tires are pretty much cooked at this point, quite literally and figuratively.
I think he wanted to play the new Forza Horizon 6 in Tokyo rather than racing in Portimao.
Cue the Tokyo Drift music.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Also a way to enjoy your race, I guess. Not judging. And I'm gonna get so much hate after saying this. I'm really sorry to all the fans in the chat, but I had to. I hope you understand me.
Daniel Mazin is a very popular figure for sure in the VMS, so hopefully for you there are not too many angry fans coming after you after that. But no, it's sad to see Daniel struggling so much in this race. It's really not his day today, unfortunately for him. I think, as you were putting correctly, the tires just overheating, and after that it's very difficult to bring them back into a manageable operating window and get the performance back in the tire. So it's also a bit too early to go for a pit stop. I think it was another attempted dive bomb of Alfano on Podence, then going for P3 then at this point. Pretty much, I think Podence is pretty much the cork, the screw in the bottle at this point, holding back the entire P3 field behind him. This is the entire field. Podence to Galetti then. You see multiple hypercars making their way through for the first time in this race. That's Niclas Henkel, who has made his way back up into P2 in this race. We saw replay earlier then of Barrichello making a mistake then, being held up there by Alfano into turn 10 in 11. The Cadillac driver making a mistake, and the Peugeot being able to get past once again and move up into second position. Now, crucially, I think Barrichello is on a full set of mediums, and Henkel is at least on a hard tire at the left front. As my broadcaster pointed out to me earlier, it will be a case of that left front overheating throughout this race, given how high the temperatures are. Not just the track temperature, but the surrounding temperature, the air temperature as well. The left front really does take a beating around here. So that is Niclas Henkel. I think at least a left front hard tire on that car compared to the full set of mediums on Barrichello. So it might play a factor as well then why the Peugeot is going quick now again. It's over 2 seconds quicker last lap with the traffic going on. There's Barrichello losing out and Henkel making some good use of it. And it's Alfano getting past Davide Canton, defending on Davide Canton for P4 now. It's really playing going all over the place on LMGT3. The drivers that we are having around here tonight are really on a similar level around here, which is nice to see as they are all fighting for the same spot of traffic. It's Gabaport on the inside of the Mercedes as well, lapping him in the meantime. Gabaport on P9. Also not really his race so far, unfortunately for him. So loads of stories going on around this track here tonight after just 15 minutes of racing. There's still an hour and 4 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. So a long old way to go. But it's like you said, Simon, it's really a matter of keeping the tires alive at this stage, especially around at this stage, not overheating them already and dying later on. So that will be very interesting to see how it all plays out then across the next hour or so. take a quick breather. Let's take a look then. It's it's all still very much in one piece. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see too many crashes around here. Usually turn 1 is really the the place to have a big incident around this racetrack, especially on lap 1. But it's still very clean so far. 10 runners still, or at least 11 runners I think in Hypercar, 7 in LMGT3, and still plenty of positions and time to go in this track, in this race. I have to say it, Simon, your suggestion on the Cadillac being quick, I wasn't really agreeing with you, but now looking at the gap that Madukovic already has on Henkel, you might be right on that one. The Cadillac is looking very comfortable around here, especially compared to the Ferrari, who's down in 7th. So maybe we see a lot of Ferrari drivers going back to the Cadillac after this race.
No, I don't think so. That's the case. I think it's a per track, per car thingy where the car just performs very well, or on some circuits, or at maybe even only one circuit. As we see, ooh, that's a really close battle right there between David Connaughton and winning, but we'll go back to what I was saying. I don't think there's gonna be much switches. We're in the middle of the path of the season. Most of the drivers already have a good points, maybe not challenging for the championship, so you might say, yeah, those points don't matter, let me try another car. It really depends on the driver, definitely. But I just see there's a lot of Cadillacs on this grid. There's the most cars, like Cadillacs, and there's 3 Aston Martins. As we see a very nice battle between Canton and Alfano, and Canton goes very deep, and that's where we connected to that battle. And a really close battle now between George Ulrich and there's a Cadillac right behind them. Sorry, that's a Peugeot, that's a Sterla right behind them. So very close battle for this P4. Potentially P3, but all of those top 3 in both classes seem to be just pulling away. Not P3 in GT3 necessarily, but top 2 definitely just pulling away from everyone. And Henkel now catching to the back of Mardukovic. So that Peugeot is still not looking that bad.
No, for sure. I think the hard tires are already proving to be a better tire at this stage in the race with the high temperatures that we have going on. The mediums potentially falling off already a bit compared to the harder compound of tires. So that will be very interesting to see how that plays out in the near future. It's 7/10 of a second as it is right now. To see the battle for P4, this is with the Valkyrie in the middle, the purple Fisher-Racing, the Valkyrie of the championship leader. Not don't forget that. Battling for 4th. He could be on for a move here on the inside of turn 1. No, he doesn't go for it this time around. As the Peugeot goes very deep there. Oh yeah, let's go off track. So he'll get a track limit for that. That's Sterling. So the other Peugeot of Niclas Henkel just putting in the fastest lap of this race. So that Peugeot really is finding some good pace around here right now. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we see him closing the gap enough for an attempted overtake anytime. So there we have the 2 leaders then. The Cadillac of Mardukovic in front. It's the I think the Mob 1 IMSA livery-esque, or the one is one of the Le Mans special cars. I think the Cadillac run a couple of years ago. So that's Wayne Taylor Racing, of course. There you go. It's a personal favorite of mine, I have to say. The livery, it's a lovely livery. So great to see it out on track with Henkel closing the gap a second quicker last lap compared to the Cadillac. As we see, that's Tom Demely on the inside, or defending for Nathan Perron in the Alpine, who is still in P8. Tom Demely does have a lot more virtual energy compared to the Alpine, so he's playing the long-term game here. But the Ferrari really having a lot of work cut out for him now. It's about 0.2 of a second between the two. pretty much the same gap as these guys are having as well. So a number of battles now happening at the same time in Hypercar. And this time Niclas could really go for a move here in the Valkyrie. Valkyrie is very good on straight line speed. As the Cadillac has a bit of a, is going very defensive on the straight, trying to break the toe. Doesn't manage it to do right now. And on the outside now in the Valkyrie, as the Peugeot in the back just hangs back and sees it all happen. Very defensive, forces him wide, and it's Sterling on the inside of the Cadillac as well. It's just both spinning around. Alexander Sterling makes contact with the Cadillac in front. I think there will be some damage on the Peugeot. It was not really in the space to go there on the inside. So the 93 also spinning around as the other 93 of the Peugeot, both out or in the gravel of turn 3. So major damage, I would assume, on the suspension potentially for the Peugeot. Goes down the inside of Domino again in the Ferrari. Tries to get a place back as quick as he can. And that's Sterling now up into P5 then, finally ahead of the Ferrari, but with some damage potentially after that incident with, I think it was Benjamin George then, in the Cadillac. I can see replay then. It's Niclas Ulrich in the purple Valkyrie, tries to go around the outside of the Cadillac into turn 1. Gets pushed out wide, as you will see. 93 going very defensive, gets pushed out wide, and then the Peugeot tries to sniff on the inside of the Cadillac, but it's not really in the space there. Both of them spinning around, and that's not great news for the Cadillac of Benjamin George, who is still in 7th, but Alessandro Sterling, the big winner there, gets up on Tom Demely as well. He's down P5, so he won't be too happy with that. A lot of carnage going on then in the Hypercar field, with a long way to go, as the battle for the lead is also heating up ever more. So Simon, let's see this battle first before I hand it off to Simon for the battle of the lead. This is George and being hunted down by Nathan Perron and the Alpine, who is also wanting to get use of this. And if anything, of course, front damage is not nice to have, but if he has any rear damage from that spin, that's also terrible to have, or even more terrible to have. So basically George will not be happy with that, I would imagine. That's it's all happening, Simon, and I think Nathan wants to get past as quickly as he can.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said, front damage is bad. The rear damage is really bad. And now look at most of these corners on this track. Imagine rear damage here. You don't really want that. Yeah, you would just be spinning like all the time. Even more than Daniel Maston with his overheated tires. So yeah, it's not a very nice combination of damage here, and hopefully there are not damage. And back to what you were saying, I think it was a lap ago. Nathan Perron actually has the least energy out of everyone. He started with 20% of energy down on everyone, if I'm not mistaken. So, or 10 maybe. Yeah, just somewhere around that. So he just has much less energy than everyone, and I don't know if that's a strategy or just a mistake, but we'll just have to see in a few laps time, where maybe minutes times more precisely, where all these cars will be pitting. And one thing I noticed, yeah, Nathan Perron and George are running the same livery actually. I noticed it just now. But it looks like a really nice livery. Anyways, from liveries back to damage. So I hope none of the drivers have damage from that contact, because it's not a very fun track to have damage.
No, for sure. I was just checking to see if there are teammates, but Nathan Perron is driving for Noco Racing Team. I mentioned George for Horizon Racing, so it's not exactly the same, but they are quite similar for sure, as you put it. So funny to see those liveries matching just a little bit here as they are fighting away for peace. I know it's George going very deep then into turn 11 and loses the position to Nathan Perron, who gets past them in the Alpine. That's what he would have hoped for sure. I am curious to see that, or a bit of intrigued to see that Nathan Perron went for less virtual energy at the start of this race, because it does mean that he has to go for an earlier stop no matter what, which yeah, it shouldn't matter too much, I think. It does mean I have to put in a lot more fuel compared to the rest of the field, but he might just think that the undercut is a better strategy around here. So it's going to be very interesting to see for sure as we are on board again with Niclas Henkel in the Peugeot, hunting down Mardukovic for the lead of this race. We saw Mardukovic going deep into turn 3, potentially struggling a bit on those used medium tires, and Henkel on the hard compound of tire, at least on the left front, having a bit more life in them still. So I think he is very much matching his pace. He is a bit quicker last time around as well, Niclas Henkel today. So he does have the pace, but he just does not have the overspeed to get the move done as soon as he would have wanted. So they're now overlapping the number 60 of that is, I think, Galetti there, the last GT3 runner in the Mercedes AMG. So once again, lapping the GT3 field for the second time this race. And I think Niclas Henkel is just trying to find a place where he can put in an attack and try to get past as soon as possible, because he's just losing time behind the Cadillac as it is, and potentially using the traffic to his advantage as well and trying to find some room to get the move done. But it's coming and going with the gaps as it is with this traffic working out. Yeah, so that was confirmation. You could just see that it's a full left hand side hard tires for Henkel. So two hard tires on the left hand and two mediums on the right hand side. That's the confirmation on the tire strategy that he is running. Now, I did ask you, Simon, during the qualifying on what hypercar you would run, as we see a replay in the meanwhile between Nathan Peron and Demeli. Let's see what happened here. Battle for P6. So, oh, that's Peron going deep then, so losing out compared to the Ferrari there. And he has closed back up again, so I think he has a bit more speed in the tank for sure. And wants to get past as quickly as possible. I think it's turn 10 then when he went deep. Yep, there he goes. So has to back out and close the gap back up once again. Now, I did ask you, Simon, on before the start of this race on what hypercar you would choose. Now, you have mentioned that you drive LMP2 a lot, and I think you might drive also some GT3 here and there. So, but given how many Mercedes there are in the field and just two McLarens, would you go for the Mercedes as well as it is in the game, or would you pick another GT3 around a race like this?
I don't drive much of LMP2s anymore. I meant it like on Portimao. I maybe put the sentence wrong together, but on Portimao I just driven LMP2s. Yes, I haven't driven any other car here. But yeah, and ironically I would choose the Mercedes or the McLaren and then just decide on BOP clearly. They seem like the best cars here. And even without this race, you know, it's hard to believe, I know. But I still choose the Mercedes to try as the first one. And if that doesn't work, I would go for the McLaren, because it just kind of suits. I don't know, I just have this feeling that, you know, the car would work good around here. And I think I'm pretty right with only the cars that are racing are Mercedes and two McLarens. So yeah, definitely would here go with the Mercedes, as you said.
Yeah. I would agree. I think personally, I've never really driven a Mercedes AMG, to be honest. So maybe I should give it a go then, because it's clearly looking like a fast car at this point in with the current BOP. As you see, we play with Daniel Maassen again into turn 13, and yet another spin on those used medium tires. He's really not having a good day out there, unfortunate for him. Might come in as soon as he can and get a full tank of fuel and some new boots under there to get rid of the medium tires that he's running now, if he wants to have any chance of scoring points in this race. It's really not been his day, unfortunate for him. Same can be said for Benjamin George. He qualified in P6 then. He's now currently in P8, being hunted down by Gabor. We've also not really seen anywhere this race. Usually he is a front runner, or a front runner. He got second in the opening round at Monza a number of 2 months ago at this point. And after that, it's just been not his race or his season really, where we are used to seeing him up front of the field usually. So he won't be too happy with how this is going either. He's still in the 4th position at the championship, a single point behind Benjamin George, who he is now battling for in P8. So that single, those points could mean the difference between P3 and P4 in the standings. We saw an attempted overtake there of Davide Canton on Podence. Canton still trying to get move his McLaren up into the podium positions. The 2 leaders are pretty much disappeared on the road. Remy Papin still leading with about 2 seconds ahead of Michael Thomas, the championship leader in LMGT3. And Alessandro Alfano, who's equal on points with Michael Thomas, he is in 3rd, 8 seconds behind. So as it stands, that would mean that Michael Thomas extends his championship lead compared to Alessandro Alfano. But of course, there's still a long old way to go. We're not even halfway done with this race yet. But a lot of things happening in the championship order right now. So just gonna throw in a quick intermezzo. We forgot to mention it at the beginning of the stream, but you might have noticed the IMO Setups logo at the top right of your screen. And of course the message in the YouTube chat as well, provided by our lovely operator on the YouTube side. Potentially on the Twitch side as well. I don't have the Twitch chat open right now, so I wouldn't know. But if you are looking for any setups to use, potentially if you're joining VMS or if you're doing any other races, don't forget to use the code VMS10 for 10% off your setup subscription, or go to the website for Hypercar Setups for more information. So just a quick mention on that as well. We are very proud to be sponsored by them. Great to have them on board. And if you're looking for anything, then please do feel free to use that code, and they know you come from us, and it helps us out as well. So that's the sales pitch done and dusted. I'm not very good at those, but they need to be done occasionally.
Yeah, the unskippable art.
You know, that's otherwise I get fired or something. And
But I can tell you, I don't race on LMAU. I don't know if I ever said that, but probably did. I race on iRacing, and I like to use the Hymo setups quite a lot actually. I like the setups, and I'm not paid by them. Of course, I'm commentating here, but to be absolutely honest with you, I actually like to use them. So you can definitely check them out, and I don't think you'll be really sad with doing the wrong choice with IMO setups. Well, anyways, from the ads, back to racing. Into the first turn, we got a replay of Podence and Canton here. Is it gonna be a dive bomb? And it definitely will be, and it's gonna be a switchback as well. For Podence, and that was a really nice battle there. Very respectful.
Lead change in Hypercar. Niclas Henkel is finally through on Mardukovic in the Peugeot. So as we were seeing that replay, we missed this one unfortunately, but there is a lead change then in for the all-round standings of this race. This is the replay happening of that overtake for the Hypercar lead. As he forced him into a mistake. This is, I think, coming up to the final corner of this track. Is already alongside and puts it down there. That's a very nice move in number 8 Peugeot. Moves himself up into the lead of this race in the 68. And he's already 4.5 tenths clear of Mardukovic. There's another replay of Alessandro Sterle in the 2nd Peugeot. And it's a bit too much speed going on into turn 15, loses the rear and spins out, loses places to Tom Demely there, and I think Nathan Perron as well. But it's him 2 places down on where he used to be. First in the pits is Benjamin George in the Cadillac 93. We saw him having damage earlier on with, or contact with another car, unfortunately for him. Not sure if he actually took a pit stop or that was a drive-through. I think, pretty sure he just took a pit stop there, but it did not see him in the box itself. So not really sure what happened there, but he is at least the first one to.
Yeah, he did a pit stop. He did a pit stop. He recharged his virtual energy.
There we go. So the first of the pit stops in Hypercar is Benjamin George. He moves down outside the top 10, and Cecilia Barrichello being hunted down by the Valkyrie, surprisingly. The Cadillac of Barrichello has fallen back quite a bit compared to the lead. Remember, he was briefly ahead of Niclas Henkel at the start of this race, but after that just kind of dropped back and did not have the pace to catch up to the leaders again. And now he's under threat by the championship leader in Hypercar, Niclas, who is, if he finishes the race, yet to finish outside of the podium. 2 wins and 1 second place, so he's in good form as well. And he wants to get the podium position as soon as he can, I would imagine. See another replay of Perron and Sterle into turn 1. Very defensive by the Alpine, moves back to the inside. And the Peugeot going very wide, very deep, and the Alpine gets back past again. So I think it's pretty much a kind of a do or die situation into turn 1, Simon. I think it's very difficult to actually get the move done into turn 1 because you just tend to go very wide there.
I have to say that was a really smart move from Nathan Perron, just putting his rival right up the wall, and then just last moment switching to the ideal racing line, and then the Peugeot just had no chance of making that insane first turn after that fast straight, as we see some bumping between Potence and Kenton. But yeah, it was a really smart defending from Nathan Perron into that first turn. And Kenton did not end with that move. He dive bombs it, gets switchbacked once again. And yeah, those dive bombs just not working here. And Sterle still stuck behind Nathan Perron with on 17% of virtual energy. So he will need to make that pit stop really soon.
Yeah, I think within the next 4 or 5 laps then for the Alpine driver, as we mentioned before, he went off strategy from the start, carrying less energy than the other driver in the field. So I'm not really sure why he did that, but it is for sure different compared to what the rest of the field is doing. So we replay then of Sterle trying to go around the outside of Nathan Perron. Actually, this time he does manage to almost make it stick, but Perron defends it nicely indeed into turn 3. So he's still ahead of the Peugeot driver, who I would imagine is feeling a bit frustrated. You can see, of course, in game what the virtual energy levels are of the driver in front, and I'm sure you'll be like, well, get out of the way, you're pitting in soon anyway, just let me get past and fight for positions up the road. But he's not letting him go that easily, and both of them are catching Tom Demily again as well in the Ferrari 499P in P5. So it's a battle for a 3-way battle for P5 soon enough, I would imagine. These two also still fighting. And the Valkyrie, well, never mind that. That's Sterle again on the outside of Nathan Perron. And this time, though, the Peugeot does make it work into turn 1. Does he stay within the white lines? No, he doesn't. Does he back out to avoid a track limit penalty? I don't think so. So it does mean he moves himself up to P6 ahead of Nathan Perron. I'm curious to see if Perron will do anything about that after the race, or fight it with the stewards, as Sterle went off track during that move. But a nice move nonetheless in the Peugeot, went for it around the outside, and he gets now overtaken again by the Alpine as it goes deep into turn 5. So I don't think Nathan will do anything with the stewards. He is back up the road again ahead of the Peugeot, who got the move done into turns 2, but now lost it again in turn 5. So again staring back at the rear wing of that Alpine number 28. Meanwhile, Barrichello is still defending on Ulrich, who's all over the place of the Cadillac. This time on the inside, though, of turn 13. Bit of contact there with a 444. But I think he makes it work. Now, super around the outside. Can he hang around? I think he does. Yeah, that's a great move. Still side by side with a 999 and 444. As they go to turn 15, more wheel banging then. Almost clashing side by side through the final corner, and that's the Valkyrie up into P3 finally ahead of the Cadillac. A very nice move indeed, breaking the slipstream, trying to defend as best as he can to the Cadillac, and holds it off on the inside of turn 1. Cadillac goes around the outside, has a look, stays within the white lines, but just about, I think, or just went over, backs out for now. And it's no, down the inside of turn 3, of course he does. And now around the outside of turn 4. Great racing between these two, giving each other just enough room on the track in order to find cleanly enough. But Niclas Ulrich stays ahead into 3rd, and Barrichello moves down into 4th position. Great racing between these two drivers. The championship leader is up onto the podium position.
This is why we watch racing.
That is for sure.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching that actually. As we see Sterle
Oh,
spinning Nathan Perron around, almost right before the penultimate corner, and Nathan Perron will definitely not be happy about that at all. Yeah, not a very nice thing. But did he give the place back? I think he did. It
I
seems
think
like
he
he did.
might have, yeah.
Okay, well, then
It did mean that
that's a fair
Gabapor got
play.
ahead of both of them, though. That's the Valkyrie coming through, but I think that you might be right that Sterle at least gave the position back to Perron, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a really nice play then.
Yeah, he did.
I
Yeah.
have to give him that. That's a sportsmanship on the best level you can. Losing one place, yeah, but still, giving the position back. Definitely rate that as a nice sportsmanship.
Yeah, for sure. It did mean that Gabapor is now up to P6. That's the highest that the Valkyrie has run this race so far. So that is Alejandro Sterle into the pit lane then. So he moves into the pit lane straight away after that earlier contact with Nathan Perron. So Perron, despite being on less virtual energy, is still on the road then compared to Sterle and Benjamin George, we saw pitting in earlier as well. So maybe he knows something that we don't, but he is still out on track then in the Alpine. As you see, Davide Canton now defending against Chris Vinning for P6 it is. Bit of contact there between the McLaren and the Mercedes AMG. And Canton was trying to overtake Podence, who is still up into P4. But is now being hunted down by the other Mercedes just behind him. And as you can see on the virtual energy, it's quite a big difference between the top 4 and the rest of the field, P5, 6 and 7. So I'm curious to see if the top 4 is just having so much pace in the tank that they can lift off and lift and coast everywhere and save energy and fuel compared to the rest of the field, who are just having to do catch up just to stay with them. So the bottom 3 then of LMGT3 having to pit in earlier compared to the top 4, which will potentially already just seal their fate then in this race, as they're just bound to finish on the bottom 3 positions. But we'll see how that plays out in the next 37 minutes. It's still a long way to go. Of course, anything can happen, as we've already seen the last couple of minutes in this race. So we'll see how all of those guys end up come the end of this. Perron having a bit more overspeed on the Valkyrie up the road. Even Ulrich has managed to get his Valkyrie up to the 3rd. Gabapor just not been able to extract most of it for now. It's the Alpine on the inside of the Mercedes of that's Papen, I think. No, Vinning, of course. There we go. Let's then move clear Davide Canton now as well. So he really doesn't want to lose too much time compared to the Valkyrie up the road, who himself now gets held up by the Mercedes of Alfano, I think. I'm getting confused by all these Mercedes drivers. There's so many of them. It's Podence, of course, in the yellow. There we go. So Alfano is driving in the bright pink Mercedes. There we go. That's how you know it. A bit of contact potentially there between them, but Nathan Perron really isn't hanging about here, Simon. He wants that P6 back, and I think Gabapor has to defend for his life.
Yeah, definitely. And as we saw, Nathan Perron is a very driver that has loads of racecraft. We saw in the laps before and stuff like that. So he seems to be very good at overtaking and defending, as we saw with Sterle, which was actually the next driver to pit one lap ago. But back to Nathan Perron. I think he'll think of something very soon, and if not very soon, he'll have to pit anyways. He's on 3.5% of battery, so now 3.1 actually. So yeah, he's getting really close to that pit window, and I think he will be in this lap, as most of the GT3s will be as well.
Can you see what the average energy use is for him in that Alpine?
In that Alpine, it's 2.7, and it's all across the field. Some drivers have 2.7, and some drivers have 2.9. It's very close between all of them, and The GT3s have around 3.1 and 3.4% per. That's actually per 3 laps. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a 3-lap average then, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. As we see again on the inside now, Nathan Perron goes down on the inside of 22 Valkyrie, goes a bit deep into turn 11, but makes it stick then. And nice move then on the 22 Valkyrie. And Nathan Perron gets up ahead just before he moves in the pit lane, probably this lap, as he is running out of virtual energy then in the 26. So gets the move done just before he will dive in the pit lane. And has some traffic up the road as well. That's the leader then of Remy Papin in LM GT3. Yep, there he goes into the pit lane. So he's the first of the quote-unquote scheduled pit stops in Hypercar. The first of the drivers who is forced to make a pit stop before running out of virtual energy. So we'll see where he ends up after all this. As you can see on the graphic, Alessandro Sturle in P10 is the first car on the grid, or in the field in Hypercar, who has made his pit stop currently in P10 ahead of, I was going to say Daniel Maas, but he is now up into 8th after multiple drivers pitting. So he himself will have to make another pit stop, of course, as well, but I think we'll see him in shortly. And I think we'll then, with what you're saying, Simon, I think we'll see a number of GT3s in shortly as well, and then the entire Hypercar field minutes after those guys. So it might get very busy indeed in the pit lane in just a few moments' time. What do you think around a track like this? Undercut or overcut? What would be the strategy that works best?
It's really hard to say, but undercut, I think, is the thing that will work here. As we were talking at the start of the race, the tires and technical section, you know, it's hard to warm them up, yeah, definitely. But I think he'll gain so much time on those new tires, and even if you have like much more fuel, I feel like you're just gonna be gaining a lot after you warm them up. And even if you don't warm them up, you might not complete the undercut, but the cars will come out ahead of you and there will be on cold tires. So for me, it's definitely undercut around this track.
I think Nathan Perron, he is now out of the pits again, 10 seconds behind Alessandro Sturle. Has Perron switched tires as well, or is it just a fuel stop?
Not sure. I don't think I can see that, but if I noticed right, it seems like he did, because his colors on the left side have changed. I think he had both of those tires were red, and now one of them is yellow. So I think he switched tires, at least one of them.
Yeah, all right. So it might be a reason why he is a bit further behind Sturle then, who is, like I said, about 9 to 10 seconds ahead of him. Nathan Perron had a plus 10 seconds on his pit stop time as well. So that will be the reason why he is now behind the Peugeot once again. Speaking of big gaps, 6 seconds already between Niclas Henkel and Mardukovic. The overtake happening just about 10 minutes ago at this point, and already clearing away from the 101 Cadillac. So great drive by Niclas Henkel, who is just showing some amazing pace in that Peugeot around here, and running away for his life as these guys are nearing their pit stop window as well, 11% and 10% respectively. And they should be coming in rather shortly, I would imagine. Sturle getting past Jeremy Barrault. Barrault then is yet to make a stop. Sturle, of course, did make a stop already, so Barrault also just struggling around here. He will be coming in shortly as well. Raymond Papin, we haven't really spoken about him this race at all in LM GT3, the Shadow 1 Esports driver. And he is just clearing away in the lead in that Mercedes, 5 seconds up the road of Michael Thomas, the championship leader in LM GT3, who himself is 10 seconds ahead of Alessandro Alfano, his nearest rival in the all-around standings then of this season. So it's a good day for both of them there. And Remy Papin He won in Fuji about a month ago, month and a half ago at this point, as it's Davide Canton in the pit lane in LMGT3. But then 2 DNFs in a row at Silverstone and Le Mans. So Papen will be very happy that he's currently in the lead of this race and could be on for a good haul of points then. But we'll see him move up the ranks in the championship standings, currently in P7 on 34 points. 2 points behind Manuel Fuchs in P5, with Chris Venning between the two on 36, sorry. Chris Venning is on 35 and Manuel Fuchs on 36. As you can see, that's the graphic there put up by our lovely broadcaster. So Papen, with the current, as it currently stands, could see him move well up the order and close the gap just a little bit to the top 4. So I think he'll be counting down the minutes, or at least even the seconds of this race as it goes on. Still 29 minutes left to go, so we'll be seeing a number of cars in shortly. Gabriel in the pit lane. There I go, number 22. So they are all going for that undercut that Simon talked about just a few moments ago, and that might be potentially the better strategy than for these drivers. I see the jacks going up, so that might mean that he switched tires. No, I don't think he did. He's on the way again. So Gabapor, see where he comes out compared to Barrault, Osterle and Perron. I think he'll be coming out just ahead of them. This might get very close, Simon. It's 2 seconds. There we go. This is going to be very close.
Yeah, definitely very close between those two. Coming out of the pit lane.
Bit less close than I was hoping for.
Yeah, those cold tires will not be helping any of them, really.
Did Gabapor switch tires as well, or is he still on the used mediums?
Not sure. I can't see tires, so I cannot tell you. I can have a look though.
You see Chris Venning and Marco Galetti also in the pit lane at LMGT3. So, and that is one of the Cadillacs also in. It is the 444, if I'm not mistaken. That's Maxime Barrichello in the pit lane. Yep, there you go. He's shown on the graphic now as well. He pits from P4 then. We'll see a number of drivers making their stops respectfully soon enough. Just trying to figure out where the difference has come from then, what the reason might be for some drivers to go longer at this point. It's, yeah, like, given that they're all pretty much on the same energy levels come the start of this pit window, I would have suspected to see a number of them in at the same time, but they're all playing it, at least playing it safe, or trying to, or going off sequence from one another right now. Is there a reason to that Simon is just trying to avoid any chaos in the pit lane and just having a clear pit lane ahead of you, or is it a bit of strategy going on?
Yeah, I think it's just about, you know, trying to not be in a traffic, exactly as you said. And one guy that had it very close with his energy because of this was Alessandro Alfano. He was on 0.4% coming into the pit lane, actually. So that was a very close calculation by him there. Definitely not a very comfortable range to be in while you pit. But yeah, back to the question. Exactly as you said, I think it's just about avoiding chaos and, you know, traffic, especially for hypercars. Maybe for GT3 is the same, you know, you don't want to be overtaken and stuff. So if you see not GT3s, but the hypercars coming close to you, like a big pack coming close to GT3, you just pit so you don't have to deal with them in the middle sector. And it's pretty much the same for the hypercars, but mostly for the GT3s, yeah.
Daniel Maassen comes in for his first and only stop of this race. He had a very troublesome race throughout with all of spins and damage all around, so he'll be hoping that this pit stop might solve a little bit of all that. Maxime Barrichello had a longer pit stop due to some damage repairs, and then also got a stop-go penalty. So I think he might have cut the pit entry line then, or pit X, or sped in the pit line. I think that's a time penalty, but it's a stop-go penalty then for Barrichello. Barrichello qualified in third then, just an hour ago. But it's been a race to forget right now for him, unfortunately. A longer pit stop to repair damage, and also a stop-go penalty that he will have to serve within the next couple of laps. So terrible news for him. Both leaders then of this race in Niclas Henkel side by side with Rémy Papin, the two leaders in Hypercar and LMGT3, making the pit stop at the same time. As you can see, Daniel Maassen also a stop-and-go penalty. So his race is going from bad to worse as well then in the Peugeot. So I think he might have crossed the entry line then as well, or sped in the pit. I'm not really sure what the penalties are for those offenses, but Daniel Maassen, he'll be hoping to put in. So himself gets also a stop-and-go penalty. So I think they're just struggling with the pit entry line then of this circuit. It's a very difficult pit entry where you have to make a sudden right-hander into the pit lane. Which could be the reason why they're getting a penalty then. Is this an onboard replay?
That's not all. You have to be driving only 60 kilometers per hour into
also
the
very
pits.
true.
So that's not very fun as well. And these are the cool race to absolutely forget. Erase it from memories, and hopefully he'll have a better time next race.
Now, I'm sure, Simon, even if you don't have to admit it, of course, but I'm sure you have had races as well where you just want to forget it and do something else. You see, I think there was some contact there with the Alpine and the Valkyrie. I think he let him back through again there, Nathan Perron making contact with Gabor Pour for P6. But I'm sure you must have had races as well where you just kind of wanted to forget the whole thing and do something else instead. How difficult was it for you, or is it as a driver in general, to switch that off in your brain and go again for a next race? Is that difficult, or how do you find that?
Well, it really depends on the race. If it's like high stakes and stuff. I have a really nice example. I think it was Tuesday or something. I was training for the Sebring 12 hours, which I'll be driving tomorrow. And, I did some official race, I'm gonna go for it. Qualified third, all good. And I spun in like the first turn and destroyed my car. I just turned it off for the day. Forgot about it, absolutely. The next day I came back to it, absolutely not forgot that I crashed, but just took it out of my mind, and I won the next two races and gained like the 200 I rating in that span of time. So that's for the officials, those are shorter and you can always make that back. But if you race some bigger event, which I'm really disappointed to this day, was a Nürburgring 24 hours, which I haven't had the time to practice for because I had an injury with my leg, so I couldn't press the pedals, of course. So I had like half a week to practice, which wasn't optimal, but I still chose to race. And on every of my stint, I crashed and destroyed the car absolutely, and ruined it for my whole team as well. So that's the race I'm most disappointed to this day, and waiting for my revenge on this Nürburgring 24 hours, and hopefully it will be a good one, because the last one was definitely one to forget, but never forgotten, really.
Never forgotten. That's that sure does sound like a race to never forget, that you will never forget. Yeah, well, hopefully your Sebring race goes a bit better than this weekend. It's gonna be a fun one, I'm sure. 20 minutes to go in this race. Nathan Perron has got past the Valkyrie of Gabor Pour for P6 then, so the Alpine is up ahead again. Taking a look at the current standings, it's still Niclas Henkel in the lead of Hypercar, 10 seconds ahead of Mardukovic, who himself is 10 seconds ahead of Niclas Ulrich. Niclas Ulrich qualified in P7. His qualifying pace was not there, but the Valkyrie came coming to life during the race and showing some good performance, and he moves himself up into the podium position again. Of course, this season he's yet to finish outside of the podium. He did have a DNF in Fuji, but other than that, 2 wins, one in Monza in endurance round, one in Silverstone, and a second place at the endurance round at Le Mans 2 weeks ago. So he is still keeping a podium streak going, Niclas Ulrich. It's a great drive once again. Tom Demely, he qualified in P5, dropped back at the start, but now back at P4, with Barrichello dropping back massively due to 2 stop-and-go penalties in this race. He's now fighting with Barreau for P9 then at the back of the field. And I think Barrichello, just as Daniel Maassen, has a race to forget, unfortunately for him. A great pace in qualifying, qualified in 3rd. But the race went all wrong in the later stages, unfortunately for the 444, and he'll be happy to at least score some points as he tries to get a look on the outside now of the Valkyrie into turn 9. I think he's a bit too far back. Jules tries to make it stick, but he has to back out for now. Down inside out of turn 10. Oh, a bit of damage and a spin as well for the 444. Just too desperate then to make up some more positions and score some more points as he gets lapped by Mardukovic, that is, the current 2nd place in the race. And the 444's race going from bad to worse. Let's see replay then from the other cameras. Tries to go for a move down the inside of the Valkyrie. And the Valkyrie turning in like he's not there. It's a bit of a desperate move from the 444. Maybe Barreau just not noticing that he was there on the inside. Turns in to get to the apex and contact there. Not losing out any places luckily, but does lose about 7 seconds. Doing so. Going from bad to worse for Barrichello as well. And Sterle, who is still in P5, he did lose 2 places to Demely and that is the Valkyrie Niclas Ulrich, of course. So, but he is still very much there in the top 5 of the current field on board with the race leader. He got pole position surprisingly in the Peugeot and lost it to the 2 Cadillacs, but those hard tires on the left-hand side proving to be the correct choice then for Niclas Henkel. Showed great pace across this whole event. Made his way back past and been flying ever since in that Peugeot. Speaking of flying in Peugeots, Daniel Maassen puts in the fastest lap of this race, proving that he does have some good pace in that car. It's just been a matter of very, very bad luck, this what could have been. Now I'm just slowly but surely looking at the rest of this season, Simon. Speaking of Sebring, the next event in the Silver Split is Sebring as well in 2 weeks' time. Then we have Paul Ricard in Interlagos. Seeing how well the Peugeots are going here, especially looking at Interlagos, and maybe Paul Ricard as well. But do you think the Peugeots will be strong around those tracks as well, or do we might see them struggle?
I'm absolutely not sure about Sebring and Interlagos with Peugeot, to be absolutely fair with you. But the Peugeot will be definitely a fast car, one of the faster cars on Paul Ricard. I can tell you that. You know, it's a car made for Le Mans, as we were talking about so many times during our commentary. And if you look at Paul Ricard, it's just a small Le Mans, really. You got 2 huge straights, chicane in the middle of it, fast corners after that, just like 2 slow corners, 3 slow corners, you know, all of them are fast. So I can see the Peugeots working really well on Paul Ricard. If we go to Interlagos now, I don't think they're gonna work there. It's gonna be like a midfield to backfield car. There's like too much slow turns for them to be fast, I think, personally. And Sebring, you know, I think it's the same as Interlagos, really. So yeah, those Peugeots will work at Paul Ricard, but I don't think on any other track that they will be something very special.
Now Sebring is, of course, as you will know, driving the 12 hours this weekend is always a bit of a special track with the amount of bumps going on there and how tricky the track is in general to keep it on the road. Any preference there, do you think, on cars, or what cars would be the good choice there? Because I think a lot of those hypercars are very stiff as for a setup. Of course, they're high downforce. You need a stiff car to make that work very well. What do you think? Any cars in particular that might work well there, or is it just a driver-based more than the car-based?
I think I would go again with the Cadillacs actually. Definitely, as you know, I was about to say that Acura might work there, but then I forgot that we're on in WEC basically and not IMSA. So yeah, I think the Cadillacs will work there pretty well. Not really sure about any of the hypercars. I could tell you, you know, GT3s, McLaren, Mercedes will work there really well again. But yeah, I can't really tell you about hypercars. I'm just really guessing here with the Cadillacs again. They should be fast there. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a like sneaky Ferrari in the mix, you know, as fast as well. So yeah, we'll have to see.
We always love a sneaky Ferrari in the mix. That's always nice to have. You mentioned Acura, of course. There was a update video of LMU, I think yesterday, or released today. I'm not sure. Either yesterday or today, where they might have teased a collaboration with IMSA, or at least some tracks that are similar to IMSA. So we might potentially, of course, knock on wood, I don't know anything about it personally, see some IMSA-related cars in this game as well, which would be very, very cool if I'm very honest about it. I would love to see Acura in this game. Well, of course, anytime soon, but I'm not a developer, so I wouldn't know. One can only hope on that front, but we might see something like that in the future. To see a overtake then by Benjamin George on Gabelpoor as he tries to get into P7. Benjamin George, a bit of a disappointing race for him as well. So the P6 dropped back and now on the inside into turn 5 on the Valkyrie driver. And the 93 gets past then on the braking, and that should be the move done and dusted indeed. So Gabelpoor back up into P8, that is. So this was for P7 with Litterbron in P6 just ahead of him. But Benjamin George fighting back, making up some positions once again. Gabelpoor qualifying in P9 was up as high up as P6 just moments ago, really, but now dropping back again in the Valkyrie, which in his case clearly didn't have the pace this time around, unfortunately for him. So speaking of races to forget, I think he'll be happy to see this one gone as well. There's still 11 minutes and 23 seconds to go then till the end of this race, and the whole field has pretty much settled down at this point, apart from within a second between Gabelpoor and Benjamin George, as we were just talking about. But the rest of the field has found our spots, has found our rhythm, and is trying to bring it home in the later stages of this race. And I think for a number of these drivers, especially in GT3, they'll be just happy to score some good points and continue their good form in the championship as it currently stands. Now, of course, anything can happen in races. We have been saying a lot. We've saying that a lot, of course, but still, 10 minutes is 10 minutes. Anything can happen in that time period, especially in multi-class racing. So we will see how all of that plays out. Now, I do know, of course, Simon, that you're not a specialist on hypercars, so to speak. But of course, we do have in WEC the Genesis hypercar joining this season in WEC, and I think there might also be a Lexus GT3 Evo, or a number of Evos in GT3 happening, or at least very close there. With that's Canton, I think, trying to get past Galetti for P5. They're being overtaken by Alessandro Sturle, but we have a number of different cars joining the grid in WEC this season. Are you excited for those cars? Any expectations for those cars, especially with a number of LMGT3 Evos we might be seeing on there? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the Evos really don't mix up a lot of things, you know. Mostly the Evos just stay with their predecessors. It's just like smaller upgrades because the rule book, the regulations, bumping again. But the regulations for GT3s are really strict, so I don't think there will be much changes in the field and stuff. Maybe there will be something, but it's not gonna be anything big. And with Hypercars, with Genesis joining, and I know there's gonna be Ford and McLaren joining as well.
Yeah, they'll be
I don't
joining
expect
next season, I believe.
Yeah, you cannot really expect anything from them. They don't really have any WEC experience or modern WEC experience that they could take anything from that. So I don't expect them to really fight for anything for podiums. They're just gonna be there taking experience, and then there will be maybe competitive the next or even the third season. The second season they should be able to pick up really good points, and then the third season they should be competitive on podium level at the very least, is what I think and what I'm expecting from these new manufacturers coming to WEC. And I think even some coming to IMSA, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Ford and McLaren are coming to IMSA, but maybe Genesis. Not really sure right now, but yeah, you cannot really expect anything from them. You know, we're gonna switch a bit of sport now. If we go to F1, you know, Cadillac, no one expected anything from them. They built a pretty good car, like reliable, so that's a really good start. And if they score any points, that's just a bonus. They're learning, they have the money, so they don't need to fight for anything immediately. So yeah, that's what I think about the new manufacturers coming to different motorsports, as I switch the conversation a little bit.
Well, that's always welcome, mixing up the conversation. I was just looking this up because I thought I read about this, and then I was correct. The Genesis GMR 001, it's going to be a twin turbo V8, but it's pretty much just two WRC, so World Rallycross engines put together, glued together, and working together to form a V8 together. It's a very nice sounding engine as well. You've seen the videos on it, so it's I think it's very funny to see that they've just glued two rally engines together to form a hypercar machinery, which will provide a very interesting setting, or an interesting car, to say the least, in this already very diverse field. So it's going to be great to see them joining this grid. And as you say, nobody is really expecting anything from them apart from just finishing the races, and any points that they can get, kind of similar to the Valkyrie of last season, is nice and is welcome. So we'll hopefully see the Genesis in LMU sometime soon as well. It would be nice to see a bit more cars out there. So of course, same with the Ford and the McLaren that you were talking about earlier as well. So lots of fun things to come to WEC in real life, as well as LMU in sim, hopefully in the near future. Proves also very well for our championships here at VMS, of course. More cars means probably more players as well, who can choose their favorite car on here, even if they don't drive anymore in real life, like the Porsche 963 in WEC. You can still pick them and drive them, and it's lovely to see them out here on track. As I'm just being reminded as well that the Mercedes AMG Evo has just been announced last week as well, the Mercedes LM GT3. So we might see that introduced into this game as well at some point this year. So lots of fun things to look forward to, and lots of fun things to, well, keep our motorsport enthusiastic brains occupied on, even if it's Formula One or endurance racing. It's always nice to see cars going around tracks very, very quick indeed. On board with Benjamin George going from P6 on Nathan Perron in the Alpine into turn 1. On the inside, can he keep it within the white lines? Perron on the outside still in the Alpine. Hangs on, but he has to let him go for now. So that's Benjamin George back up into the top 6. And puts the Alpine down into 7th position after that. So 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
And yeah, as you were saying, Le Mans Ultimate as a game is growing absolutely fast. I remember buying it when it was in the beta. It was a week when it came out that you can actually play it, and I was very surprised with it. The game is working very well, and it's growing very nicely, and I do like to play it, here and there. It's just not my driving preference, which is okay, We all have different driving preferences. I prefer iRacing, but I absolutely respect Le Mans Ultimate because as a game, it's growing absolutely fast, and the content they're adding is absolutely insane. So, yeah, I absolutely respect Le Mans Ultimate. It's a really good game. Just does not suit me, I think about it, here and there that, I'll join VMS next season, drive for a bit, maybe some cars. Then it somehow just, I say myself, I don't think I have the time. And, maybe I'll try it one day. Just for fun. I'll definitely not play it too, I don't know how to say it, to concentrate it on it. It's not the right word I wanted to say, but you get the meaning. So yeah, definitely will try it in the near future and maybe join some VMS grid in the next season or the season after that, or the season in a few years time. You don't know when my laziness ends, so so maybe you'll see me somewhere on the broadcast sometime.
Well, I'm expecting to see you now on the at least the bronze split then next season. That's
yeah, definitely. I think I'll be
sure,
in. Yeah, I should be in the silver split. If I try a little bit, then I should be. But I could try some of the hypercars. They're looking really great as Barrichello spins right as I say that. Nice timing right there. But they look really fun. It's something different from the GTPs. They're pretty much the same cars, but at the same time they aren't. So, trying out the hypercars, just driving them around. I'll see what I do, but they seem really fun, so I might try them in the near future as well. With the new tire model update, it's pretty close to iRacing from what I've been testing. It seems like it's much more punishing on Le Mans Ultimate from what I've been testing, but definitely it's really close to cold model of the tires to iRacing, and even maybe optimal window. I really haven't been able to compare that as I haven't given it as much time as I should. But yeah, as I said, it's a really good game and it's growing really fast. So yeah, we've got Le Mans Ultimate confirmed, Barcelona, I know, LMP3's new and stuff like that, and they even leak Daytona, which is a very fun and OG track with ovals and stuff. It's a really fun track as well. Really hard to race on, to be fair. Yeah, as we are on the last lap, as my race director takes my yup away and gets my concentration back to the race. So I'll let you handle it, Stevie.
Yeah, it's 15 seconds on the clock, so Niclas Henkel has started his final lap of the race. He's still better going on for P4. All of a sudden, Alexander Sörle has closed the gap to Tom Demely, but I doubt he'll be able to close that gap even further to go for a move for P4 then in the Peugeot. But Niclas Henkel will be coming over the finish line in just a few moments' time, 20 seconds ahead of Mardukovic, who is in second position. Absolute masterclass from the Peugeot driver. He's been driving phenomenally all race, and it will be a very well-deserved victory indeed. Coming through turns 14 on to turn 15, Niclas Henkel is your winner for the 5th round of the VMS Silver Split, and I think it's first win of the season as well. It's first win for VMS. He's very happy about it, as you can see, flashing the lights. A well-deserved victory for the Peugeot driver. Mardukovic will be coming home in second position in about 20 seconds time, followed by Nicholas Ulrich. This is the leader in LM GT3, Rémi Papin, finishing up his final lap of this race as well. Sörle, oh, he almost spins it on the final lap, trying to desperately go for a move on the car ahead, but he fails to do so, and he has to be happy with P5 then in the end. Mardukovic is across the line then for P2 in Hypercar, and we'll be seeing Rémi Papin across the line shortly as well. As a number of lapped Hypercars and GT3 cars make their way. Oh, you see, he and Thomas are the only 2 GT3 cars not to be lapped on that lap by Niclas Henkel, so they'll be completing this final lap then of their race, as he's coming through Sector 2 into turns 12 and 13 in Sector 3. A well-deserved victory for Rémi Papin as well, leading from start to finish in the Mercedes AMG number 6. And it will be his first victory, second victory of the season, after winning in Fuji, then 2 DNFs at Silverstone and Le Mans, and now back with a victory as well here in Portimao. Well deserved for him. Michael Thomas comes home in second position, but 5.5 seconds behind him. He will remain in the championship lead, actually extend that compared to Alfano, who has come home in third. But your winner is Rémi Papin for the Shadow One Esports team, and the Mercedes AMG very happy with that as well, as you can see, and a great drive for sure. Thomas is home in second position, and Alfano, he will remain in second position, but loses a number of points compared to the lead. Let's quickly talk you through the results then. It's a short list for LMT3. Rémi Papin, as I mentioned, wins then in the number 6, followed by Marco Thomas in the 91. Alfano makes up the podium in third, and in 113 Mercedes AMG. Chris Winning comes home in fourth. I think that's his best result of the season as well. Or matching his best result at least of the no, it is his best result. There we go. Marco Galetti in 5th position, with defeated Kanton, the final finisher, in P6, with Bodens and Laralde both DNFing, unfortunately for them in this race. And Hypercar, Niclas Henkel, dominant victory by him as well. 26 seconds up the road of Mardukovic in the Peugeot number 8. Great drive, and his first win, or his second win of the season. As well, no, this is his first win, the second podium. There we go. Keep mistaking it, but it's the second podium, first victory of the season for the Peugeot driver. Mardukovic in second position, his first podium as well, and actually only his second scoring point scoring position of the season, after 9 points last time at the Le Mans. So great result for him. Nicholas Ulrich, our championship leader, remains in the lead ahead of Nathan Perron, and with Tom Demely in fourth. Alexander Sörle in P5, Benjamin George in P6, Nathan Perron, there we go. He is still in second, I think, but he comes home in the 7th position in this race. Kabopour in P8, Jeremy Barrault in P9, Daniel Maassen in P10. So he does score a point after all that, but he is the final in the final points paying position. Barrichello, 2 stop-and-go penalties, unfortunately for him, comes home in P11, with Schlichting, Willen and Schorneck not competing this time around. Well, then, there's a number of drivers waiting for us already in the interview rating room. And let's start then with the LMGT3 runners. I'm just going to have my results list up very quickly. There we go. So we'll start with Alessandro Alfano, coming home in 3rd position this race. We'll drag him right in. We are now joined by Alessandro. Alessandro, thank you for joining us once again here after that race. Hopefully you can hear us. P3 for you in the end. I think you will remain in a second position in the championship. But it's maybe a bit of a dull one for this time around, or how was that race from your perspective?
Hello everyone. No, I thought it could be better. Okay, the quality wasn't that good. I just had some mistake in the last laps because I knew that in this track it's very difficult the gaining positions and nothing. The race started good, but then I lost the position on the McLaren. It was very fast on the straight, and then I had some long fight with the Mercedes that made me lose a lot of time to the first to ahead, and then I just tried to keep the third place and finish the race.
Well, it's you're still well in the hunt of this championship, only a couple of points behind Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
If you had a better qualifying, do you think you had the pace to outperform him today and maybe take the championship lead, or was it going to be difficult?
I don't know. It was very fast today. I don't know if I could keep the pace, but anyway, I just lost a couple of points, 2 or 3. I don't know, and everything is still online. We can fight. We can keep fighting.
Yeah, for sure. It's only a couple of points with just 3 rounds to go, so everything to play for. Simon, did you have any questions tonight for Alessandro?
No questions. Congratulations on the podium, and hopefully you can bring some fight to the championship table next time round.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't really love so much Sebring, but anyway, let's see.
I'll teach you, mate. I'll teach you.
Thank you.
Oh, congratulations on your podium at least here tonight, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time then for Sebring. So best of luck for that, and we'll see you then.
Thank you so much, and
have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and with that, we're gonna go to our race winner in LMGT3. We are now joined by Remy Papin. Remy, welcome. Congratulations on your second victory of the season. It's been a little while. You had 2 DNFs in a row, but then now you a win again in Portimao. That must feel very nice for you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it feels really great to be back on the top again because I've been really unlucky the 2 last races. I've been hit by a hypercar. Then I had a random disconnection while leading the race at Le Mans. So finally, I can get to the end and get the victory.
It's been a very nice drive from you today, for sure. Now, you are quite a while back to the leaders of this championship. With 3 rounds to go, do you think you can get back some points on them? Do you think you have the pace to challenge them for the rest of the season, or it's going to be difficult?
Yeah, my aim is to be back on the top 3 in the standings. So the goal is to win every single race is remaining. I have no choice, so yeah, I will try that.
Well, that does sound like a very good goal to have to win everything.
Yeah.
Simon, any questions from you for Remy tonight?
No questions, just congratulations on the very dominant win. We almost forgot about you, how dominant you were. Yeah.
You wouldn't say that.
That sums up your race, mate. Hands down.
Yeah, exactly. It's been very lonely. I had a good pace, like Thomas had almost the same pace, but he had a bit of more drop off near the end of the first stint. So I had a good gap. Then I think he decided to change tires. I didn't, so I had even more gap. He caught me a lot at the end, but still get the win. Yeah.
It's been a great performance by you tonight. So we will see you back hopefully in 2 weeks' time at Sebring.
Yep.
So again, congratulations from tonight, and best of luck for Sebring, and we'll see you then.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys for the broadcast, and see ya.
Our pleasure, and have a great evening still for the rest of today. As we then move to our finishers in Hypercar, and of course, as always, we are first joined by Daniel Maassen. Daniel, welcome. Good to have you back here in the booth again. Bit of a difficult race, it seemed like for you today. I think it was P10 in the end. Talk us through it. What was going on, especially in the first stint? What happened out there?
What a miserable race from my perspective. So I am, well, long story short, I built my own rig out of wood, and my seat in my rig is an old car seat from a junkyard, right? So I just thought it made the most sense at the time when I did this years ago. And every once in a while, it's great. It's very sturdy. Something breaks. Today, my screws holding my seat wore out and broke. So the front right of my seat was completely broken. So my braking it broke in the middle of qualifying, so I couldn't fix it. And every time I hit the brake, my whole seat moved like it was on rollers a bit, and it threw me off. It was just the worst. It was a nightmare. Oh,
that does sound terrible. Yeah, that's. I pity you. That does sound awful to happen, because I think you did put on some purple lap times in the end. Did you work around it at some point, or did you manage to fix it, or was what happened there?
I think I more just got used to the muscle memory of braking as the race went on, but I had to spin just because just everything fell off, and with the track being so warm, the tires were kind of gone, and that just went to another spin. So by the time I got it all worked out, that was 30-40 seconds gone, and the tire life was just dead. These tire model now is similar to LMP2 a bit, where it's not as bad, but if you have a good spin and your tire temps go up, plus the track being hot like it was today, they just don't tend to come back down, and it makes it much more sketchy. So it just, I should have, hindsight, just kind of bit the bullet, pitted early when I could have made it to the end of the race, and then went on the quality tires, and just, I probably would have had a better result. But fighting with Barreau right to the last second, and we had a little kerfuffle, and then he still finished P9. But it was entertaining from the end. But yeah, it was just really bad luck. I practiced really hard and felt like I had a great pace, and it was just the worst luck I've had yet.
Well, hopefully your luck is a bit better for Sebring in 2 weeks' time. Of course, your home race there. So hopefully, at least from my side, that will go a lot better than on Sebring. Simon, did you have any questions for Daniel here tonight?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I can relate to. I have a handmade rig as well, and yeah, I actually found a chair really cheap from Poland, like a racing chair into a real race car. So I have a luck in that, but sometimes when I brake, the wood just makes a really weird sound, and I like, is it all falling apart? So
Yeah.
I can absolutely relate to you, and tough luck. Yeah, hopefully you'll be more lucky and be able to fix it for the next race in Sebring.
I hope so. I would say I was so bummed last week we didn't have the broadcast for the bronze split. I got my first VMS win and nobody was there. I was all like, oh, I was really excited at Silverstone. I was really excited. And I was like, oh, it's not streaming. Darn. But
yeah,
no, I'm excited. Sorry. Yeah, I know, technical or whatever. That it happens, but I'm excited for Sebring. I think Sebring's going to be tough. We'll see what the Studio 397 does with the BOP. We kind of know the Peugeot's pretty good right now, so we don't know. We'll see what happens, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, best of luck for that race, nonetheless. So anyway, it's always entertaining to see you around here. So best of luck for Sebring, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great evening.
And with that, we are going to go to Niclas Ulrich, the still championship leader in the Hypercar. Niclas, welcome. It's a third position for you at the end of this race. Still in the lead of the championship. Still, if you finish a race, you finish on the podium this season. It felt like a difficult track for you this time around, but you still managed to bring it home on the podium. That must give you some good confidence for the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was a really hard race for me. The Aston wasn't that good that I was expected. And yeah, I had a Wi-Fi issue at the quali, so I had no good quali lap, only with cold tires. Then I had to start on P7 and had to fight forward to P3. So it was really hard with the Aston. And yeah, the goal on the track was that stay on the track, stay the car on the track, and don't do that many mistakes.
Of course, Portimao is not, like you said, not really suited for the Valkyrie. In 2 weeks we have Sebring, the bumpy hell. Do you think that the Valkyrie will be able to perform a bit better there, or is it going to be a difficult one as well?
Yeah, hopefully it will be perform better. I feared that on Tuesday we will get some BOP changes, or maybe some BOP changes, and hopefully for the Aston, because the next 3 races will be hard if we have no BOP changes for the Aston. So yeah, at the moment the Aston is really hard to drive, and yeah, just bring it home, just bring the races home if we have no BOP changes and stay on the podium.
Well, fingers crossed for those races. Simon, any questions from you for Niclas?
No questions, just congratulations on the podium.
Thanks.
Well, thank you again for joining us, Niclas. Great to have you again here in the commentary booth, and the best of luck for Sebring and the rest of the season, of course. So hopefully we'll see you then as well after a good result.
Yeah, thank you. Then have a nice evening.
Same to you. Thank you. As I now also see Alexander Mardukovic in the interview waiting room, so I'm going to go straight to him as well. Alexander, welcome.
Hello.
Congratulations on your first podium of the season. I think your first podium in the VMS in general. Congratulations. You must be very, very happy with that.
I'm not too happy actually, because I've just found out I've been DQ'd.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, because I
that's-
got a new PC 2 days ago, and I forgot to download Motec again.
Yeah, that's kind of a requirement to to keep your result. Yeah, that is unfortunate. So, well, that is unfortunate. Of course, you did have some very good pace around here for this race. That should give you some confidence for the rest of the season, though. That if you have Motec installed, you will be able to get a podium there as well.
Yeah, I think I can. I don't remember what the rest of the calendar was, but I think I can go for a win in maybe one of the races. I was on for a win, and I know Le Mans wasn't broadcasted, but I was on for a win there until my PC had an issue and I DNF'd. And I still somehow finished in the points. I don't remember how, but I would have had a win back in Le Mans. And I feel pretty confident, but the car definitely isn't in favor of the Bob right now. So it's been a struggle trying to get this car to work.
Well, I think at least to our how do you say that expectation, the Cadillac might be very good at Sebring, which is in 2 weeks' time. So hopefully you will be able to at least match the performance that you had today.
That is true.
And hopefully keep it that time as well. If you don't forget to install the Motec for that. So I think that will be the first thing on your bucket list to do.
Yeah, I'll for sure get that done. But yeah.
Simon, did you have any questions for Alexander here tonight?
No questions, just unlucky that DQ, really good pace and would be a good podium. And I think you can be proud of yourself. It's still on track, a really good podium. So congratulations on that, if not on anything else.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us here, Alexander. And hopefully we'll see you then at Sebring back here as well with a podium that you'll be able to keep then. So the pace was very much there. So hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time here as well.
Yep.
All right. And with that, we're going to move to our final interview of the evening with, of course, Niclas Henkel. You had to wait for it a little bit in the interview waiting room, but we are now joined by the winner in Hypercar. Niclas, thank you for joining us again. Your second podium of the season, but the first win of the season. Congratulations. You must be very happy with that. Talk us through it.
Yeah, thanks for your time. I'm super happy. It was from the beginning kind of unlucky start, but I guess I will lose 1 or 2 positions because the top speed of the Peugeot, I drove at max swing, so I knew I will drop down 1 or 2 positions. But yeah, I knew I had some good pace, some good strategy, tires. I drove hard on the left side, so I knew till the end they will be kind of a little bit better. Yeah, but in the end, I'm super happy. I want to thank my whole team who supported me very, very well this week. And yeah, I think Pulse Racing is looking good in the VMS this time. P2 in the gold split, P1 in the bronze split, and now P1 in silver split. I think we are showing some great pace this week.
You sure are. You're bringing the fight to the Fischer Racing teams and the Tatum Esports. That is for sure. Now, both Simon and I were not really expecting that the Peugeot to be that quick around here. Were you surprised by that as well compared to the other cars, or did you expect to be at the front?
Yeah, I think the Peugeot benefited kind of from the BOP changes a few weeks ago. So all around on the most tracks, it's kind of drivable and kind of fast. But yeah, Portimao is a super, super tricky track to drive. It's very difficult, some elevation changes, so you need to be focused fully the whole race. So no matter how fast your car is, you need to keep it on track, I guess. So yeah, it worked out.
that usually does help, yes.
Yeah.
Simon, did you have any questions for Niclas tonight?
No questions. Just a big congratulations on the very nice win.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for your time and appreciate your casting.
Of course, that's our pleasure. So thank you again, Niclas, for joining us here tonight. We'll see you back at Sebring in 2 weeks' time as well. And with that, we're gonna round up the broadcast in the meantime, along with it. So Simon, that was round 5 done of the silver split here at the Virtual Motorsport Series. Despite the small field of GT3 cars, I think still a very, very entertaining race, especially in the hypercar field. So thank you very much for joining me once again. I think we will have you back at the silver for Paul Ricard, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So I'll see you in a number of weeks as well. That's going to be very exciting as well.
Yep, definitely. Thanks for having me, and everyone have a nice evening.
Yes, and with that, I also want to thank our broadcaster, Niclas Domino, as always, for pushing the buttons and pulling the levers behind the scenes. If you're back at home, thank you very much for joining us once again at the VMS. Remember, if you are looking for any setups, please do feel free to use the code VMS10 at Hymo Setups for a discount. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed the broadcasting tonight. In 2 weeks, we'll be back for Sebring on the 10th of April. Should be a good race as well. After that, we have Paul Ricard in Interlagos to round up the season at the silver split. So thank you very much for joining us here again tonight, and hopefully we will see you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, have a good night. My name is Sverre Kolman. Joined with me is Muzik, and we will see you next time.